How can you stop you from cock blocking yourself? Hi there, men's dating coach HarryWilmington here, founder of IntrovertDatingSuccess.com. And on today's show, we're going to go over a Reddit user's message where he talks about this girl that he met. They've been having great conversations, and she actually agreed to a date. But now he's starting to throw doubts at himself that's making him wonder why it is she would choose him in the first place. We're going to talk about why that happens and the 3 simple things you can do to guarantee that your mind is on board with your successes instead of trying to block you altogether. If you're watching this at youtube.com/HarryWilmington, hit the like button, subscribe button, and the bell icon to be notified of new shows. I wanted to talk about this because this is something that a lot of guys really struggle with, especially if you're a guy that hasn't had much dating success, and then you start seeing evidence of women actually wanting to date you. Because even though you think, wow, what I want is finally happening, if you've been in the practice of not getting the results you want, or you've been having a lot of trouble with women, your brain's going to still be in the mode of, well, you're not really worth dating, and therefore anything that you looks like you might be getting some success is actually a fluke and is not deserved of you. And this is a mentality that you can have that you need to get rid of if you want to actually go through with the successes you're having. Because as you're starting to get success, if your mind is still trying to block you from being able to enjoy that success or feeling kind of weird about it or that you're undeserving of it, then you're never going to be able to actually make a girl feel comfortable on a date because you'll spend the whole date doing things to self-sabotage yourself. And I don't want that to be you. So we're going to talk about that. As always, if you want more of these shows, you can go to IntrovertDatingSuccess.com. You can go there, check out my eBooks, audiobooks, video courses, and any freebies that I have there. You can also schedule a one-on-one consultation coaching with me, yours truly. And of course, if you like the message you hear in this show or any shows that I put out, you can click on the tip jar tab to show your support at the website as well. Also, if you have any questions you want me to answer on one of these shows, write to me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this guy's message, and then I'll give you my 3 tips. So the title of his message on Reddit is, "Help, I have a Tinder date tomorrow with a very attractive girl and I am scared." He says, "I'm middle of the road. I don't make a lot of money." So that's how he starts out his paragraph. So before we even get to his situation with the woman, he's already putting up, these are reasons why I do not classify to have good dates, because I'm an average guy, middle of the road, and I don't make a lot of money, which he's probably heard that a lot of women need you to have in order to want to stick around with you. And I can tell you from my lived experience, that is absolutely not true. I've dated women at times when I had next to no money, and I've dated women at times when they have definitely been out earning me by a wide margin. In all those cases, what I brought to the table for them was more important than the amount of money that I made. So that could be true of you too, but you might still be in your head about this whole, well, I'm the guy and I got to earn a lot and I'm just below average and why do these women want to date me? Well, if you think that way, you're going to have problems. Continuing on, he says, "We spoke quite a bit on Tinder, exchanged phone numbers, etc., and the conversation is pretty flowing for the last week. We've set, and she confirmed this morning, the date tomorrow night." So I want to point out, he says that she's the one that confirmed the date with him. What have I told you guys time and time again is that you as the guy, your job is to set the date and stick to your word, which is why you do not reconfirm. But the other reason you don't do that is because a woman that is highly interested and doesn't want to lose out on the potential of being with you will reach out to you to confirm when you don't, because it hits her self-esteem that, oh, I don't want this guy to cancel on me, and am I attractive enough for him to keep the date? And so women like that are that highly interested will reach out, which is why you never need to do it, because all it does is show anxiety and a lack of confidence in yourself to be able to actually attract a woman of that magnitude, okay? So that's why I say don't do that. This is a perfect example of that. Continuing, he says, "I'm scared. She's amazingly pretty, and I am not that special. I don't know what she sees in me. How do I stop my mind from cockblocking myself? Or at least what do I do so that I don't show her that I like her looks too much?" So what is he saying here? He's already saying that based on their conversations, based on their interactions, and based on how she looks on Tinder and how amazing she looks in her pictures and stuff like that, he's already saying that he is not worthy. He is not special enough to be able to be in the presence of this goddess that has agreed to go on a date with him. He is not even able to understand what it is about himself that she would even see in him to allow a date to happen in the first place. And like I said, this is an example of what can happen when your mindset for the longest time has been one whereby you think that women don't like you, you're weird, you're strange, you're awkward, you're that guy that no woman ever wants, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough muscles, you don't have the fancy job that you think you need to have. And so as a guy, these are a lot of thoughts that we can have because we are very much taught from like very, very little that our worth and our self-worth and our worth to women is based on what we can make, what we can bring to the table. And we've been trained to believe that we have to bring certain things to the table like a good money, job, etc., in order to impress women. And if we don't, we should not feel that we are worthy or have enough value to date anybody outside of an average to below average caliber. All right. So here's the first thing I want to say is that everything that this guy is worrying about is subjective. Okay. So what that means is that he's thinking she's too pretty. The fact that she's single means that there's somebody out there at some point in time that probably dated her and at some point got to the point with her where they said, I no longer see value in you. We're breaking up. This isn't going to work out. Goodbye. All right. So given, I don't know what this woman's age is, but any woman that is single at some point recognizes that if it's not of her own doing, meaning she didn't break up with these previous guys or whatever, because I imagine every woman at some point in their life has been broken up with. So to that end, if she's on a dating app, that means that she's been having trouble in her current life, in real life, being able to meet guys. And that she's probably had situations where she was dumped for whatever reason. And so she's probably a little bit humbler about herself than this guy would be made to believe. Because most women that I talk to have been like, I don't want to do online dating. Oh, it's like a last resort thing. Does this mean that I'm not pretty enough or good enough to be able to get guys in real life? Like they have their own hangups about that. So her even being on the app, she's already saying on some level, this is like a last resort. I didn't want to do this, but I am. All right. Those kind of women I find tend to be a little bit more humble and a little bit more accepting of the people that they meet on these apps. We're not talking about the ones that are on there just because they want to get their Joshes in and, feel like they're being lapped upon by all these guys just for attention. Okay. The majority of women on these dating apps are on there to actually get dates. Okay. So even though he's not seeing value in himself, we can see from this and from just the stuff that he said that she's clearly seeing value in him because they've had conversations that lasted more than a week, which for online dating can be very, very hard. She actually agreed to a date and then she checked up on the date. Okay. So all this is screaming, hey guy, I see value in you. So if the guy though is not able to see that, what can happen is he'll go on this date and he'll be trying to do things like self-deprecate himself with humor. Oh, I'm not really that great of a guy, or I don't know what you see in me, or I'm just some kind of lousy bum, this and that. And while he may be doing that in hopes to get sympathy from her to want to continue to like him, all that's going to actually do on her end is make her think this guy doesn't really think highly of himself. He doesn't value himself. And he's questioning my judgment of going out with him. Do I have bad judgment? Was this a bad date? Should I not have said yes to this guy when he asked me on a date? Are those things that you want women to do? If not, then you have to understand that all this that's going on in his mind is nothing at all that is going on in her mind, but it can have an effect on his ability to successfully land this girl and go on multiple dates and eventually get into a relationship. But again, we do this because our minds are secretly trying to protect us. Because again, if we've been hurt in the past and we've been guys that haven't been that successful, all our brain wants to do is make sure that we are not going to feel any pain get inflicted upon us. And so that's why your brain will try to block you, because if you can't go on the date or if you do things to mess this thing up so she goes away, there's no potential chance of you getting attached to this woman, growing an interest in her, really starting to like her, and then her going away, ripping your heart out, and you feeling more pain. But none of this evidence points to that potentially happening. And even if it were to possibly happen, the reality is it wouldn't be at the high level that this guy's brain would probably think. So again, he's already saying he's not special. He doesn't make a lot of money. He's average. She's clearly more better looking than him. So therefore, if he's not as good looking, he can't see why she would want him. And there's plenty of reasons why. Women are looking at you initially when they first, especially on dating apps, when they first see your picture. If they swipe right at all, 9 times out of 10 is because they thought you were attractive in some way. Now, it might not necessarily be your pictures, although your pictures are up there, but if she looked at your profile and you had interesting things in your profile and you had things that you talked about that maybe she hadn't experienced from a guy before, that could pique her interest enough to want to talk to you. And I talk about this all the way in my program, Smart Digital Dating, which you can get at the website, introvertdatingsuccess.com. But I talk about a lot of this stuff about what things you could put in your bio, what things to wear in your pictures, and how to frame your pictures so that way women will want to actually swipe right on you and accept your messages. And then I go into the whole thing about messages and stuff too, which is actually a free webinar you can check out at my website about how to send the first messages that'll attract women. But yeah, so if he set up his profile the right way and said the right stuff in the profile, and then Messenger in a way that made her feel different than other guys have, and then set a legit date, then all the things that he did to do that could have attracted her. And he might not be necessarily the pretty boy guy on there, but guess what? Most women want to be the better looking one in the relationship. Do you ever think about that? Like, yes, you want to be able to present yourself and know what kind of clothes fit you good and what kind of, hair products to wear and how to, put on the right cologne and stuff like that. But women are really looking beyond that because, again, of the two of you, she wants to be the pretty one. She wants you to be the one that's going to show that you're a leader, that you're masculine, that you have the ability to actually plan stuff, that you're going to treat her well and protect her at all costs. Those are the things that are going to really give you more points with women. It's not that looks aren't on there. It's just that in the hierarchy of things, it's not as important. And we got to remember as guys, sometimes we take our lens of the world and think that it's women's lens of the world. So we think because we judge women initially based on how they look and how attractive they are, that they're doing the same. But what's attracted to them is different. And that's why if you go to my website, you'll get to learn about some of those things so you can kind of learn the difference between what you as a man need to be doing to attract women and what they actually desire in men versus what you think works because based on how you judge what you think women need to have for you, that women need that same thing from you. That's not really how that works, okay? So all that said, a lot of this boils down to what is going on in your mind. I have a program at my website that's free. It's called Modify Your Mindset, and it goes into some of the things you can do to kind of modify how you think about yourself. But for right now, we need to get you to avoid blocking yourself altogether from the chance of getting these women. So how can you do that? I have 3 things that we're going to discuss. So thing number 1, you need to stop prejudging yourself for someone else. How many times have you done this? You talk to a girl, she's agreed to a date, or even if she hasn't, you see a girl from across the room that you think is just really pretty and attractive, and your brain starts going to, oh, I don't know if I can talk to her because she seems to have more money than me, or she seems to have a lot of friends and I'm just an introvert, and she can talk to people really well and I'm kind of awkward and she's not going. What are you doing? You are putting out these judgments about yourself that nobody else knows, including her. And when this happens, this is based on years of training yourself to have these excuses to not go after these women so you will not hurt yourself if it doesn't work out or if you get rejected. And what you have to do is take the onus of these judgments off of you and put it onto her. Not to say that other people's judgments of you should matter, but in this case it does because you are basically being your worst enemy. You're putting out all these flaws and all these things that you think a person's going to judge you on. And for all you know, she could like those things. So for example, you could be a guy that's kind of nerdy and you're like, I don't want to talk to her because she's going to think I'm such a nerd. She could be all into all kinds of various nerdy stuff, but you're not going to know because you're already judging that she's not going to like that stuff. Versus just having a conversation and letting things flow naturally and seeing what she says and then asking her questions about herself so that way you can pique her interest and you can see the things she's going to talk about to see if you guys would actually like gel well on various similar levels. So you got to take the prejudging part out because until you actually talk to her and until you're one-on-one having conversation, you don't know what she's going to think about you. All you're going on is either previous history or just being in your own head, but that's not going to actually be an accurate judgment of the system because your brain's going to make you believe that anything you think is already actually happening, but it's not actually happening. You got to actually go have that convo and see what she's going to say versus judging it and then not making any moves and then remaining single. So that's the first thing. The second way you can stop cock blocking yourself is to start looking for evidence of interest with the women that you're going after. Let's take this guy's situation. So this guy, he thinks he looks weird or he's saying he's average, he's middle of the road type of guy, right? But she swiped right on him. So clearly that means that she's seeing him as above average because I can tell you, women get a lot of messages from a lot of guys on these apps, like hundreds. They're not responding to everybody. So if she responded to you, she sees something there, okay? He says, I don't make a lot of money. Well, who said you had to make a lot of money to take a girl on a date? If you only make $40,000 a year but you're the one paying for the meal, you're the one paying for these various dates you're going on, do you think she's going to really care if you're making an abundance more of money than her? Some women will, and those are gold diggers, and you don't date them. But for the other ones, the majority of women out there, like I said, I've dated plenty of women who make way more than I do, and it's really for them more about how I make them feel, the fact that I respect them, the fact that if we have a disagreement, we're able to talk it out smoothly versus me yelling at them. That's a bigger for women, is like women have so many guys that yell at them or call them stupid or dumb or don't want to hear their opinions. And yeah, those men might make more money, but do the women really feel like they're being respected or cared for in those instances? So you got to understand, again, they're measuring how they feel about you and your attractiveness on a wide variety of other things. So this is why I say you got to look for the examples that are already proving that. This woman talked to him for a week and then agreed to a date and then confirmed it. So your brain might be saying, this girl is not going to find me worthy. I don't see how she's going to find me attractive. But all of her actions are saying what? This guy is amazing. I find him attractive enough. And yes, I want to see him in person. So when these things happen, gentlemen, keep in mind, even if your brain is playing tricks on you, get out of your brain and look at what's happening in front of you and say, is my brain playing a trick on me? And what is the evidence that's supporting the fact that this girl could actually have interest in me? Chances are, if you see that, you'll be able to see that you need to go more with the evidence in front of you versus the imagined evidence, quote unquote, that's going on in your brain. And then the third way to stop cock-blocking yourself is to replace your negative thoughts with positive ones. If you see a situation where things are seemingly going well, your brain's going to start trying to give you these negative things. Oh, you're going to get on the date and you're going to mess up. You're going to be anxious, or, oh, this girl's not going to really find you as attractive in person because of X, Y, and Z reasons. Understand, again, that is a trick that your brain is doing so that way you can avoid pain if this girl rejects you in the long run. So when these things happen, you have to start learning to instantly, when you hear a negative thought, replace it with a positive thought. So for example, this guy, he says, I don't know what she sees in me. Well, the first thought you need to have right after that is, well, what wouldn't she see in me? We had a great conversation, so clearly she finds me funny. I'm able to make her laugh. Oh, well, I don't make a lot of money. Well, she liked the fact that I picked out a restaurant, and it wasn't the most fanciest restaurant, but she seemed very, very excited about it. So you have to back up your negative thoughts with positive thoughts and positive evidence that shows that this woman actually is somebody that can find you potentially attractive and potentially a worthy suitor. Now, these aren't going to be easy things to do at first, but this is why you have to really be present with what your thoughts are when you start getting yeses from women, because you're going to be getting yeses and your brain's going to go into panic mode, believe it or not, and think, oh my God, she said yes to us. This can't be real. And there's all this reasons why this shouldn't work. And when you hear that panic go off, you have to be self-aware that, oh wait, this is my old programming that's going on in my brain. Let me just turn this off. Let me look at the evidence that's out there. Let me look at the judgments that I'm making on myself and then see what she's actually saying about me. And then let me look at the positive aspects of me that a woman actually would want in order to remind myself that I am worthy of going on a date with. If you do these things, I promise you, over time, that annoying, nagging voice in your head that's giving you all these negative reasons as to why this woman should not want to date you will be less. It'll eventually go away. And all you'll have when you meet new women is positive thoughts of, oh, let me see how this could work out, instead of, let me just block you altogether. And if you need help doing that, I have a lot of great freebies and a lot of great paid stuff you can get at introvertdatingsuccess.com. So go there now, click on the products tab, check out the one-on-one coaching that I offer. And of course, like I said, if this has been helpful to you, click on the tip jar tab, because guys, this show is supported by you. And I love being able to help you guys get out of your own head and get you into actual dates that you can enjoy, that you feel worthy of, and that you will no longer be blocking yourself from altogether. If you found the info in this episode to be helpful, please show your support by clicking on the tip jar tab, the link of which can be found at the website and in the description below. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment on this episode, and catch new episodes right here on YouTube or wherever podcasts can be found. In the meantime, be sure to check out these other episodes so you too can learn to date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.